Good morning from Oulton Park. We've obviously repaired a lot on this since we had our whoopsie at Snet. It's got a brand new left-hand shaft, brand new gearbox mount, and we're here in the assembly area at Oulton Park. The rain has held off, it's quite gloomy, and we're getting ready to qualify on the international circuit. So let's see how qualifying goes. I like this circuit. Circuit don't take prisoners though, so you've got to, it's quite greasy, and we are first out in qualifying, so let's see how we get on. A lot of my B plus runners as well are, the cars are significantly sort of better than mine, so we can but drive a bit more aggressive and do what we can and go from there. But I hope everyone is well. Welcome to the, well, the slightly higher res ramble. Oh no, Sam!
Hi, me again. So I'm going to talk I'm going to talk over some of this qualifying session. So here we are heading out, and Sam Shimwell pulled off onto the left. Then on the opening lap I was trying to get past these guys, and they decided to make it a bit difficult for me, as you can see by my hand gestures. It's quite a big track, boys. Come on, let us through. Then on the left hand side into the island hairpin, unfortunately Sam Daffin's Fiesta decided to expire, spill some oil everywhere and catch fire. So we had a bit of a red flag for that. So, like a good boy, I headed to the pit lane and waited in there for a bit while the marshals did their thing, cleared the car up, and yeah. I suppose at some point I should get a qualifying lap in. Here's my qualifying lap. So a few mistakes in that lap, so I thought, right, let's have another crack. So I get it on a bit more here, and it starts to go really well, and then I get down to Knickerbrook. That's coming up. Didn't sound too happy with that, did I? But yeah, it was about 2 minutes 2, and that put me 16th on the grid next to Mr. Steph Marsh, who, as you saw from the Snetterton vlog, we had a bit of fun with in race 1. So yeah, things were looking good. It stayed dry, the weather was good, and that man passing me in front, turns out we have a bit of a ding-dong race in race 2 later on, as you'll see. But yeah, that's qualifying done. Rolling start time, boys and girls. It's race 1 and a quick turnaround. Right, so what I've done here is skipped over a few laps, and this is the last lap of my race. Now, I've built a nice gap to Wayne Crabtree behind. Steph's taken off up the front with the Fiesta as well, and I'm kind of in no man's land. There's been a bit of action on track, so at this point I start to feel and hear a bit of a vibration in the car, and I know something is wrong. Something is not happy. You could see my hand changes on the steering wheel, and I'm starting to think, am I going to make it? I know it's near the end of the race. Yeah, let's just see what happens. And there's some more of the vibration. There's a bit more of the clicking, the ticking, which actually turned out to be the CV boot and CV itself ripping itself to bits. So the noise is absolutely horrific, so I head for the pit lane. But look at the tower on the left hand side. They wave the checkered flag as I cross the timing line in the pit lane. Yeah, that was frustration. But anyway, I come into the pit lane fully believing I'd blown the gearbox up, because all in the neutrals, horrific sound, big crunching, not good.
That'll be a gearbox. Yep.
So you join me in my office because I recorded this bit in the workshop and the car didn't save it, or it was jumbled or whatever. But this is the part that failed. So it was the right-hand CV joint, this kitty here. So that bolts onto the hub. Drive shaft goes into this, and as you can see, it's just welded itself together. I mean, that is how I found it. I haven't cleaned any grease out of it or anything like that. What has happened is the CV boot that goes over these has split, thrown all the grease out, and then it's dried up during the race. And it's only on the last lap that it's got very, very hot. And proof of that is the blue tinge all around on this. So you can see a blue tinge, and that's not good for man or beast. So anyway, so the drive shaft fails. I coasted up and into the pits, as you could see. The frustrating thing was that I realised as I crossed the line, the checkered flag waved. I could have crossed the line and then pulled off maybe at the end of the pits straight. I would have been officially classified fourth in class, whatever overall, but actually officially finished. Because I finished in the pit lane, I was not classified. So that was gutting. So I missed out on many things for that. I was gutting to miss out on second. It was the fact that is a 3-meter-old drive shaft, and I think what it is, the rubber boots are just going through heat cycles, going brittle, and then braking. They just don't like braking. It's quite a high torque car. It's small wheels, high heat with the brakes. So all manner of issues there. But luckily, we got the car back. Nick and Jay from Club Racing UK pushed the car back, and I was ready to put it on a trailer. I'll be completely honest, I was ready to put it on the trailer and go home. I'd had enough. Didn't want to do it anymore. Was a bit arsey, kicked the car door, wasn't happy. And I was like, no, sod it, because I thought it was a gearbox. I didn't think it was that. I thought it was a gearbox. Anyway, Jay and, well, it was predominantly Nick, and Jay would just say, look, stop being a knob, just have a look, see what it is. And they actually had a look underneath them. So we got the wheel off, and they're like, yeah, it's a drive shaft. Let's CV joint. Let's get you another CV joint and get you back out. And we got it done. And the reason we got it done is because of the brilliant team Boomerang Racing and professional Yorkshireman David Guthrie lent me his spare shaft. He also lent his teammate Alex Bohm some bits so he could go out as well. So yes, will we get a podium in race 2? Thanks to those guys. Let's find out. Okay guys, so we're lining up for race 2. We retired from race 1 on the last lap. Thanks to those guys over there, Mr. Alex Bohm. That man there was absolutely fantastic. His teammate David Guthrie got me sorted out. We got a brand new drive shaft in it and only just made it to assembly. So here we go. The Geo's awful. We'll give it a good crack. Let's see how we get on. have no idea what's going on here, but the camera just changed its settings, the exposure or something like that. Looks like it reset itself. Maybe it was too hot, maybe the light outside changed. It was quite overcast at this point, but at this point I am third in class, and I'm looking in my mirror and I've fought off those escorts valiantly, and I'm just fuel saving. I can't catch anyone in front. Can I hold on for the finish? So there we go, I finished 6th overall and 3rd in class. It was a pretty bruising day for the modified Fords, but we got there in the end. With a borrowed shaft, a bit of luck, yeah, I'll take that.